While most of 4th A, this 4th Bilingual, were on an exchange, some of the students stayed home for one reason or the other. What did we do during those days where there were hardly any students? Well, we mainly went to the garden. We used the work in the garden to basically have some informal conversation classes, and we had a lot of fun doing so. In the garden we did quite a few things. First of all, we planted some aromatic herbs, mainly oregano, mint, and some thyme. Okay, how did we do that? First of all, we dug some trenches, furrows is a word I don't really like in this context, into a slope in the garden. These trenches were then filled in with universal substrate, that is, with flower earth, and in these new terraces we planted our herbs. First of all, of course, we had to take the flowers out of their pots, separate the roots a bit, put them in the ground, and finally water a bit. Okay, once we'd planted all those aromatic herbs, we started also preparing some furrows in the garden itself and planting, or rather sowing, because sowing is when you put the seed in the ground, planting is when you put a plant in the ground. Well, we planted radishes, peas, and some carrots. After we'd done all this, there was still a lot to do because the garden was basically choked with weeds. So what we did is we took away all the weeds and cleaned up the various garden patches, using the residues to make compost, which later on, once it's fully fermented and decomposed, will be a wonderful fertilizer for the garden. Work in the garden worked very, very well, and so did the conversation classes. The students learned a lot of vocabulary related to the garden and, of course, simply gardening techniques, as well as, of course, some expressions and words related to everyday English and cooperation in work.